Hi, this is Dr. Montagny. We're continuing the series on Candida. This section is on the gut-brain axis. Gut neurotransmitters, it's long been known, scientists found that gut bacteria produce certain neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. Those are all our feel-good hormones. As much as 50% of those are made in the gut. So it's really huge what gut function has to do with, and most of these are made by the gut bacteria in the gut. There's further searches or studies that show that the gut can make virtually every hormone that we make, virtually every neurotransmitter that we make. Neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. Those are our feel-good hormones. Those are the ones that give us energy, vitality, and life. Other studies show that every other neurotransmitter can be made by the gut. When we start looking at what happens with Candida, we start to see things like this. Candida produces several different things when it feeds. It excretes carbon dioxide and alcohol when it feeds. And in beer making industry, it creates acetaldehydes, which are part of the thing that the lagers try and keep out of the beer, and the ale makers try and capitalize on that to give all the unique flavors that go on with all the darks and the IPAs and all of that. So in our bodies, Candida in all of its forms makes acetaldehyde also. Problem with acetaldehyde is it kills the nerves that make dopamine. So if acetaldehyde starts to circulate through our body, it starts to kill the nerves that make and use dopamine. How can someone possibly feel good when this is going on, especially in a chronic sense? Then when we look at acetaldehyde, studies show it's 5 times more toxic than embalming fluid, which is formaldehyde. So it's literally pickling our body inside. There's a recent story that went on over in Russia where a young woman in her 20s went into surgery. Somebody made the mistake of hooking her IV line up to the formaldehyde source instead of the glucose and water that she was supposed to be hooked up to. It killed her and literally pickled her alive. With chronic systemic candida that's going on in smaller levels throughout the body. Then when we start to look at what happens with a leaky gut, with all these food particles leaking out into the bloodstream that should never be there, creating food intolerances and food allergies, there's a direct relationship between psychological disorders and food allergies and food intolerances. This comes out of the Journal of Neuroimmunology study done in 2003. So we have direct effect of the gut through the cell signaling. We have indirect effect through the gut microbiota making neurotransmitters and hormones. And we have another indirect effect from the food intolerances, food allergies that occur through the leaky gut. All 3 of those are really primary access into the gut-brain axis right there. Then we start to look at what goes on with some of the dysregulation. You add sugar and dysbiosis or an upset microbiota, that leads to autism. That's pretty serious deal. There's other things that lead to it also, but this is a common factor with an autistic children. And once they have that, you start dealing with the dysbiosis and the diet, and they can change in a huge way. It's really neat to see them come alive. So it does that through altering the pathway that we make energy, called the Krebs cycle. And it does that through toxic pathways. These are what those pathways are in the Krebs cycle with autistic people. Really a common scenario, going to a doctor and thinking that something's with your diet has something to do with it, and always told that no, that couldn't have anything to do with it. Well, irritable bowel syndrome and Crohn's are both absolutely directly linked to what we eat and what's going on in our gut. So is dysbiosis with parasites, pathogens, and Candida, all linked directly to what we eat. And here's a study where a child had frequent ear infections, was given antibiotics, and by the time they're 36 months of age, they're born normal, normally interactive. At 36 months of age, start to lose muscle strength and becoming autistic because of the acute Candida systemic issues going on inside of them. So if you like this, hit the like down below, subscribe to our channel. We will be back with more videos later.